I'm afraid to
5:15. Time to call this meeting to order of the Public Health, Welfare, Safety Committee. Call for 5:15 and room 200 in the courthouse. There's agendas over here. If anybody came in and didn't pick one up, there's a sign-in sheet here. If you intend to speak on any subjects tonight, we'd like you to sign in so we have everyone on the committee on the sign-in sheet. First of all, see, we have some distinguished guests. We'll start with the back row. Mayor.
Hello.
Representative.
Good to be here.
Any other elected officials? Right here.
Randy
and Becky.
Sheriff.
Sheriff is here. We have some distinguished guests that will introduce as we go on. The first item on the agenda is consideration of highway proposal for the extension of the bypass from Highway 70 to Highway 5 and 7 North Junction and other road improvements in Garland County. We have Mr. Mark McBride, Executive Vice President of Stevens Incorporated, with us to talk about the bonds involved. Leanne Burnett, his associate, with us to talk about that. Our member of council, Mr. Shepard Russell. Shep, good to see you. And the purpose of this is to discuss the subject, make known the reasons, the whys, and the wherefores. There's been a lot of meetings with the various groups, and this has been one priority that's been raised by several groups, and I'll let the judge start off the discussion. Judge?
I want to thank all of you for coming tonight, and especially those that came to my invitation. I did send out an invitation to all the city board members as well as the mayors across the county. And if you guys couldn't make it tonight, I was hoping maybe they would show up on the March 7th meeting. You know, it's taken a long time to get to this point. This has been a discussion for a very long time. I've been talking to the highway department for probably a year and a half to 2 years about this very project. This project was identified as a priority by several groups, and I agree with them. I think it is a priority, and it's good for the entire county, those inside the city and those outside the city. In your packets tonight, you're going to have a copy of the ordinance, along with an explanation sheet behind that. Kind of looks like that. And how we got this was through a committee. There was a committee formed with West Central Arkansas Planning and Development, actually helped us put together, and there was people from the Metro Partnership Chamber, people appointed to that committee from the city of Hot Springs, as well as people that was appointed from the county. And through, I don't know how many months, but it seems like it's been well over a year that they had a discussion point about what we needed to do and the priorities we needed to address. After quite a discussion with the highway department and all the trading and swapping we offered to do with them without spending $30 million, finally come down to the point that told us no more discussion. You guys got to put up $30 million to gain the $35 million that we're willing to put in, which is a plus, you know. I really believe that this is not a decision that I or anybody else needs to make. I think it's a public decision that needs to go to people. They need to vote whether we're going to take advantage of $35 million or we're not. I think if we don't do this, it's going to be a long time before this project will ever be completed. And so, you know, with the 5-year federal road program that's currently in place, it's kind of like the timing is right, because without that, this project would not be able to be completed. So for the last 5 or 10 years, we haven't had that luxury. So that's pretty much all I got to say. I know that Shep and them are going to tell you about the ordinance and answer any questions. I think I covered everything I was going to. You know, we're going to have another discussion point for the public on March the 7th for the Finance Committee, and then we'll go in from there to the full on the 14th. If you look at this sheet that you were handed, this tells you the time frame of how this is all kind of going to work. Good to see you. You feeling better?
That's about it.
So I mean, that, it just kind of tells you the time frame of where all this is going together. The last couple sections of that were the public crews that are disinterested. So, I mean, I see a lot of positives in this project, in fact, public safety, getting people to hospitals. Anybody in the northern part of the county that has to go to the hospitals, it's a long time getting around through Central Avenue and the boards to get over there. It's also a plus in the fact that there's 200 million plus disposable income up in that area. We got a leak right now to the east, which needs to come down into Hot Springs and spend the money to generate revenue for the county and the city. It's got a lot of pluses to it. If you look at the downtown traffic problem, this is going to alleviate some of that, which actually, if you look at part of the downtown revitalization study, that's part of that plan, is to get the major traffic out of Central Avenue. So, I don't know much else to say, right?
You might point out what the other plans are as part of this improvement, not just the connector from the 5-7 intersection back to Martin Luther King. I mean,
That was the deal.
together.
This plan, if you look at it, it's going to generate $50 million. And how that money will be spread out for projects in Lonsdale.
So there's $20 million that's going to be available for additional road projects.
Additional road projects. And those projects are listed. And, you know, when we won't know exactly, we're going to have a committee that's going to be put together that's going to prioritize those projects by its best use inside the city and in the county. The city projects you see listed were submitted. Come on in. Let us keep going. The projects are kind of listed in no particular order. It's going to depend upon design and how much money we got, which this committee thinks would be the best use of our money. So, I mean, the fact is, you know, I get 90% of my phone calls every day is about it's about infrastructure problems. And so this gives us an opportunity to address some of those needs. If we have this to address some of those needs, it actually makes our money go farther in our regular budgets doing local roads. Because I've kind of concentrated on collector roads, doing local traffic.
What you're asking here, Judge, is for approval for the bond issue to cover the extension of Martin Luther King Expressway over the junction 5 and 7. That's number one.
That's the primary.
Behind that, you have a list of projects, and I guess they're in priority order.
No, they're not. They're being prioritized according to planning and looking at all of them based off traffic studies and different things.
Number one is going to be the extension of the highway for the $30 million that the county has to commit to the state, and the other $20 million will go towards any or all of these projects.
Anything that we get in is prioritized. Probably the reason we're not committing to these other road projects is because we don't have a good number. I know this $30 million project is what we got to spend. The rest of these have got to be looked at and designed to come up with a reasonable figure so we know what we're going with. If you look at the two top projects, look at the asterisks. It tells you what the state's sharing with and what the county is sharing with. And so those were two projects that we benefited both county and city residents. And beyond that, they're in no specific order. They're going to have to be vetted and proven to the best need of our money. I mean, that's just what the thing is. We couldn't commit to these projects because we don't have a good dollar figure to commit to. And I am currently waiting on a letter from the state that will guarantee that we only got to spend $30 million for the bypass, and that there will be no more. When it runs over, they'll take care of it. So
That was one of my questions, so we passed the bond issue, what's the guarantee that since we are raising $50 million, that the state doesn't just come back and say, oh, you can have more?
I will have a letter from the commission very short.
Are we still looking at a two-lane limited access trace?
That's exactly right. There may be one exception, and that would depend on the Park Service as well. Mill Creek, maybe one connection gives you on and off the bypass, in between 7 and 7.
You mentioned it earlier, but one more time, we'll be doing this at a special election at the end of June, as opposed to waiting until the general election. Just one more time, go over why that needs to be done, has to be
I
done.
think that's a little bit out of our control because the highway department, I've got a letter that says that they were September. We had to have them an answer by September. I've been saying July for one reason, because we can't have an election in September. That's school board election. So this was originally early spring, and we couldn't get all of our ducks in a row by the state laws and the time frames that we had to go through to get it on the March deal. So we had to go to sometime into a special election. You know,
So if it were to come up as, if it would be put on the general election ballot, we would.
We're going to miss the 2016 step, which means we're going to throw this thing into 2019, even being considered, if at all. And so, like I said, with the 5-year federal plan that has been established, we're kind of in this time frame that we either do it or we don't.
So we're only talking about 2 months there, I guess, would be my question. September to November.
The 2016 step is being created right now. And it'll be up for approval and be completed by September. They have put this $10 million for right-of-way acquisition and for the study in there. And if we don't give them an answer before that time frame, that's coming out. So the public decision will decide what we're going to do.
I know I've been kind of out of the loop here for a few years, but I have a couple of comments that I want to make. One, when the state was going out, all of the things that you said positively are pros, and I will say that up front. But when the state was going out for the tax increases for roads, I think there's been 3 transportation taxes over the last few years. Not once did they say that they were going to do matching funds with counties. And for those counties that were unable to get matching funds, they would not be entitled to draw any state funds. So I feel a little deceived by the state in the way they've done this, number one. Number two, when we were fighting, I've got pneumonia, so I have to take my time. When we were fighting for the 1-cent sales tax, I'm not when we were fighting for the 1-cent sales tax, it was commented over and over again that once we got that 1-cent sales tax, it would. No, we went for a 1-cent sales tax.
Talk about the jail.
Yeah, it was 1 cent. We told them over and over again that the 5/8 portion of that 1-cent sales tax would sunset. And people over and over again said, once that tax gets approved, it will never stop.
That's a public decision.
And I don't know how many people said the fact that we were going to sunset it and they were going to trust us to actually stop the tax.
And it's
They approved this. So I think that doing this at this time, right now, is very deceptive. And it only goes to reinforce the public's feelings that once a tax is in place, it never disappears.
Yes.
That's my feelings.
It will sunset, and there will be time in between. It's not going to be the same tax. It's going to be a tax approved by the people. And I don't think it's my decision or anybody on this quorum court's decision to say we're not going to give the public the opportunity to vote on a $35 million gift infrastructure improvement that we're going to miss out. That's not my decision. And I don't think that it's anybody else's decision. So
Road taxes are a gift to the county.
this one is, we're either going to get it or we're going to lose it.
That's my point. The fact that when the state went out for these taxes, they did not say to the public who was voting on it, that in order for your county to receive those monies, you're gonna have to come up with a new
This is
tax.
not part
So
of it.
only wealthy counties are gonna be able to do this.
This is not part of the half-cent sales tax money that was voted on. The two projects that we're getting out of the half-cent sales tax money is 70 East and 270 West. That was all that was ever agreed.
There's been 3 transportation taxes in the last 3 years.
I don't know about that. I know the half-cent sales tax, because that's what we're benefiting on our local road projects. 7 South is not part of the half-cent sales tax. It is from a totally different fund.
Well, Judge, I agree. So, I believe that there's some good points about this. The problem I've got, again, a special election, doesn't give a true picture for the voters, the total voters, doesn't give a picture of the total voters in Garland County. And, that's the problem I've got with it.
Excuse me, could we use the speaker system? We can't hear you all.
Can we turn the air conditioner on?
Yeah.
Well, that'll be all right, but we can't hear you.
Turn the microphones on.
Now we got the heater up.
And my point is that, I agree that it's got positives that we really be good for. But I just don't like the fact that we're going to do it in a special election.
I understand that completely, but that's not the case that we're in.
We've got no control over that.
And I understand that.
The state highway department has told the judge that we have to give them an answer. And if we don't do it with the timetable that he set out, we're throwing $35 million of benefit to this county out the window for a project we have needed for 15 years at least, since Martin Luther King Expressway was constructed to help out the north and the east side of this county. And like he said earlier, there's over $200 million of disposable income from the north and eastern part of the county and adjacent Saline County that can benefit Hot Springs, or it can go where a lot of it is going right now, east to Benton and all the shopping areas all the way to Little Rock. And they're improving Highway 5 to get east out of the village and Fountain Lake area. We're working on 70 and going to make that a better highway. And if we don't want to grow and make it better for all of our citizens, we can pass this opportunity up and let the project die, and it'll never happen. And that's what it comes down to.
But it will happen. To say it will never happen.
Well, it will never happen in my lifetime, I'll put it that way.
Probably not mine either. Maybe yours, but you'll be an old man when it does.
We have a long time for that.
I'm going like
It's quicker than you think.
Everybody.
That's what we're up against.
So it's just a coincidence that it's 5/8 of a cent tax, and the jail tax was also 5/8 of a cent. That's purely coincidental. Have we considered other percentages to see if we could?
You can lower the percentage of what you're gonna do, it will end up making the payoff time longer. And I think that it needs to be short and sweet, just like the jail, and be done with it.
But don't we only need 30 million, not 50,
For
whatever?
a bypass, but are you just gonna do for this portion over here and none for anybody else? We gotta
So we
prove
want
it's.
the taxes for
Yeah.
more than the 30 million, we want the
We're
taxes.
gonna generate 50 million. Look at this.
Well, that raises an interesting point, because the fact of the matter is that a lot of people have said to me, they think that this is a good project, but they think that there are other things that need to be done. The problem with it is, there is so much that needs to be done in this county with regard to roads, ingress and egress wise, that we will never be able to fix it all in this one deal. This is a heck of a deal. Now, you could always go and answer the question for a lesser percentage on the tax and just raise the 30 million, but then you leave a lot of things undone that really need attention. And if you go with the 5/8 sales tax, at least you have some other projects you can accomplish. At some point in time, we're going to be faced with having to make decisions about moving forward on those other projects. I also agree with the concerns that have been voiced with regard to the fact of the taxes coming at this point, and it looks like the tax is just continuing on. I think the only thing we can do is put this up in front of the citizens and say, this is what we're dealing with, it's your choice. At least we're not taking it, ramming it down their throat, we're saying, here's your choice to make a decision on what you want to happen in your hometown. I think we at least owe them the opportunity to make a decision as to whether they want to take on this indebtedness or not. I personally, I think it's a great project, and I wish the state was throwing in a heck of a lot more. I mean, we're investing 30 million to get 35 million. That ain't a heck of a whole lot of return on the dollar invested, but it's a better than a negative number. And if it's the only way we can get there, I agree. It'll happen somewhere down the road, but when? And we need to make it happen.
Denise, do you come?
I thought about all of these points that you all are bringing up, and I take Justice Thomas's comment about a special election is problematic. It will cost the county $30,000 to $45,000, and that might be chump change when you're talking about 55 million, but it is twice the average income of per capita income in Hot Springs. So to the citizens, that's not chump change. So when you're calling a special election, the people who are adamantly for it or adamantly against it will show up, but will it be representative of the whole county? I don't know. I doubt it.
Probably so, but the cost will probably come down a little, because I think, I heard Fountain Lake has got to go to a different class city, and so that has to go to an election as well, so I think some of that cost, if they go in at the same time, I heard they were, would reduce our cost in that election.
So Judge, this sales tax will start July 1st of 2017,
Correct.
and the jail gets paid off the end of this year.
Into this year, and there will be a sunset between the two.
So you're saying a year and a half, basically, between the two?
No.
Less than half a year.
Six months to a quarter. You know, it's gonna be something, we don't know exactly, we know that it's sometime the end of this year. Depends on what month it happens, and by the law, you can't, when you shut something off, there's still 1 quarter collection beyond it. Right?
Well, the way I see it is, the bottom line is that in addressing the concerns that Ellen and Denise had, and maybe Thomas, yes, it'd be nice to be able to have this voted on at a general election rather than a special election. However, the circumstances are such that we have to have, in order to be able to acquire the 35 million, we have to have a decision made prior to September. And so therefore, you can't wait till November, or you're not gonna get the 35 million. So it's, therefore, you really have to have it as a special election sometime between now and September. As far as the projects are concerned, 30 million is what we're gonna have to put up to be able to have the highway run from the existing end of Martin Luther King up to the 5-7 intersection. And that will benefit not everybody in Garland County and Hot Springs, but it will benefit the larger number of people in the northern part of the area and the eastern part of the area. There are a number of other projects which are desperately needed. You said that the telephone call that you get for those congestion infrastructure improvements that need to be made that will benefit other people in our community, in our county, in our city, other than the ones in the northern part and the eastern part of the county. Now, of course, if we just put in the Martin Luther King extension, you not only benefit the people in the northern part and the eastern part of the county, but you also would benefit merchants in the south and other places in the city and county, because people who live in the village area would be coming down the new Martin Luther King extension, be able to shop in Hot Springs in Garland County and be able to spend money there, which would benefit us as opposed to going over to Benton or Bryant, things like that. But you have to give something in the way of a benefit that the person who lives in the western part of the county recognizes as a benefit for them to be able to vote on as well. And that's one reason why I believe the package that's been put together would allow an additional $20 million worth of expenditures on road infrastructure to improve transportation throughout the county.
I mean, anytime you do infrastructure-related projects, you're doing economic development. It creates jobs. And it's no different than this jail. The jail created quite a few jobs during the process of it being constructed. And quite a bit of sales through material suppliers around the county. So, I mean, it's good in that aspect as well.
District 1 will see a benefit, I believe, because truck traffic will be routed around Park Avenue and downtown. We won't have all the emergency vehicles running up and down Park Avenue. We're already planning for local traffic in our new infrastructure up and down Park Avenue. So we're hoping that the bypass goes through in District 1.
Have you ever heard anything from the national park with regard to the, I know there was conversations at one time of cutting off truck traffic through the board. Just cut it off. But then it disappeared. That conversation kind of disappeared. I've never heard anything about it.
I haven't heard anything about it myself.
Well, that'd be next to impossible to do because they don't have another way through. That's it, or downtown.
It's one or the other. I think it's one of those things that determines what to do.
You know, another thing too, we've been fighting this, we spent $900,000 on West Galazy Road, and the trucks have tore it up. But what they're doing is actually going around, instead of using Strawberry, instead of north, they're going through Galazy Road. And so we've taken the trucks off of that road as well, but that's because they can't get down through Central Avenue. It's difficult. So they're going around and coming back and trying to get on the other end of the bypass. It just makes sense to make, and this thing makes a lot of sense for a lot of people all over the county.
I'd like to ask a question. You mentioned how these projects would benefit all of the county, and I agree, but is there a perception out there, and I guess maybe this is a bit naive of me, but when I talk about county improvements, I never break it down and say north versus south versus east versus west. I look at it as we all pay taxes in and we all want everything good to happen in the county regardless of where it is, because we all benefit from it in some way. I guess where I'm going with that is that I was thinking, well, maybe we could include in the election a chance for the voters to express their opinion on just do the 30 million to get the 35, or to do the 50 million to get the other projects. But I wonder if you were to do that, if you aren't encouraging division as opposed to discouraging it, because I've never really dealt in a situation where I thought that you had one part of town fighting another part of town, so to speak.
Well, I think you have a benefit that, depending on where you live, there's going to be more of a benefit to you for one of these projects as opposed to another one of the projects.
Well,
If you live in the northern part of the county, which you do, then to you, it will probably be more important to have the Martin Luther King extension put in, as opposed to some change around the western part of the county. But then if you, let's just say that you broke it up into two pieces. Several projects which you could vote on. Do I want the $20 million project to take care of the western part and the southern part of the county? And I can vote yes or no on that, and I can vote yes or no on the one, on the 30 million part of it, for the northern and eastern part of the county. Well, if I live in the west, I might vote for the west one and against the other. If I live in the north, I might vote for the northern one and vote against the western. And so you might end up with both of them failing based on just a lack of support. Whereas if you did it in an overall sense, to be able to enhance infrastructure, traffic infrastructure throughout the county, which is what I believe this does, then that allows, I live in the northern part and I want it so bad that I'm going to go ahead and vote for the additional part to give Matt a better ride into town, an opportunity to come into town. Whereas if I'm Matt, I say, well, you know, even though I don't really go to the village that much, I still think that it would be a great benefit, and I gotta have a better road to come into town from the west. So that I believe is the reason why we want to do this as an overall package deal, because it's intended for the entire county.
I agree, Rob. And that's my other point, is that I think it's well balanced, and I like that fact. But I've just never thought about it as being one region of the county versus another.
Let's move on. Is there any other quorum court members that want to respond on this subject? Ellen, do you have anything you want to say?
I'm just disappointed.
There's zero chance of that money being available if we wait a year.
No, I would say zero. Zero.
I wouldn't even want to wait a year. It just seems to me when you have a general election this November, we're sitting here with a primary tomorrow, and a general election this November, it just seems very suspect that the state can't wait until November election. And, you know, the timing is suspect, the exact amount is suspect, everything is suspect to the citizens out there. The project itself might be good, but everything else is suspect here. And it just seems to me that they should be able to wait for a general election where the entire county would have an opportunity to come out, as opposed to having a special election in July or June, whatever month it
Well,
is.
there's zero points of getting at one time in the next 5 years. Let me put it to you that. Zero, if you want to wait on November.
Justice Mahoney, do you have anything you want to add? All right, I'll open it up to any of the people in the audience that would like to.
I'd like to ask, I've got 3 questions. If the tax that we have now sunsets approximately 2017, and we vote this new tax in, will it be sunsetted?
Yes, ma'am.
And when will the road be started?
The design on the bypass will be started in 2017. We gotta have $5 million in their hands July of 2017. Look at this sheet.
I don't have that sheet.
You should have.
Oh, okay. It fell out.
We're gonna have $5 million in their hands for design and right-of-way acquisition.
Well, my concern is that when, like all road construction that I view in Garland County, there's 2 people working and 5 holding up shovels looking at the dirt. And I wonder, do they give an estimation of how long this will be from start date to completion?
Yeah, they do. And it's gonna be about 22 or 23 before the bypass is totally complete. All right, boy? There's phases of it. There's 3 phases. One is the right-of-way acquisition and the design. The second will be the earthwork and the structures, and the third will be the paving portion of it. So, yeah.
Okay, my last question is, with the new route, I know that the new route has been designated, is that correct?
It's close.
Okay.
The design.
Is what advantage to different business people out there in the community? Have they already started buying up land to develop these
No, ma'am,
exits?
they have not. They're not gonna buy up any right-of-way till they have money. And they're not gonna have any money till we vote and see if we're gonna share in this deal. So no, there's been no right-of-way bought. There's a line drawn on a map, and that may not even be the exact location until they get the design.
If I'm hearing her ask a question, I think what she was asking about it has to do with development along.
Private development.
Well, let me say this. It's my understanding then this is going to be more like a trace, like Natchez Trace, where there will be no development along this road. That's my understanding. Now you tell me if that's.
That's exactly right, and a lot of that has to do with the recharge zone of the hot springs, because Indian Mountain is now, has been designated as a recharge zone. So there will be no access to that road in those areas at all. With the exception of Mill Creek, and we're gonna work on that one, but that's south of where the recharge zone is.
We will not be creating a 5 or 6 or 7 mile commercial zone along there. If that's what you were concerned about,
Yes.
that's not going to happen.
Okay.
There'll be no access between, maybe one between 7 and 7.
Anyone else that would care to comment in the Quorum Court on the matter? Yes. Former Judge Williams.
I'd like to say this is the first time I've addressed this group since my last night as county judge. I just got this for the first time. I want to be sure here that, I'm going to have to wear my city hat now for a moment, that these city projects would be included in the bond issue, correct?
Exactly. Each project on this list, Larry, there will be a committee set up. There will be a person who's going to ramrod this, probably through West Central. These projects will be designed, and when there's a money, figure out how much it's going to cost, and actually vetted with actually which is most important. And I see this committee being set up with county people, city people, a variety of different people from each organization. It will be vetted, designed, and when the bills come in, the county will actually pay for those contracts.
Well, the first city project that caught my eye was the second one, is the Western Road traffic signal, both at 70 West and 270. And that's in my district. The problem we've had is the State Highway Department, I think on at least 2 occasions, has denied a permit application for that intersection because they say it doesn't meet the warrants. But I would be very interested in that. I'm glad to see that there are city projects included. Now can I go back and wear my old county hat? Some of these projects here, most of you are not be familiar with, but the Slaughter Creek Bridge replacement. That is a very old bridge over old 88 Spring Street. It's long, it's narrow, it needs to be replaced. It's going to be very expensive. I will tell you that in 1998, when they made that film, The White River Kid, I don't know how many of y'all remember that, but they shot a scene out on that bridge. And they said, now Judge, don't go out there and paint it or do anything to it. It's because of its age and everything, it fits perfect with what we want to do. But you've got a number of good projects, both in the city and county, that personally, I think I could support. And they're not ever going to get done like some of the Slaughter Creek Bridge. You're never going to get it done without a big infusion of money. And you might even be able to match federal bridge replacement funds for it. I don't know, but.
Well, you know, I'm trying to start a bridge replacement program now. We're evaluating every bridge we got in the county and trying to have one each year that we're going to try to.
Well, just to give you an example, that Southmore Bridge, which took several years, was a $2 million federal bridge replacement project. They're very expensive. Unfortunately, most federal money paid for most of that, but the county still had to get the right of way and pay for utilities. And there's, as you know, Judge, there's over 100 bridges out there in the county. And you just simply, you can spend all this money on bridges, or a good part of it.
They're about $180 a square foot per decade.
Okay.
So this one's about 1.9 million is what was estimated. But that's not a firm number, so we'll go through that process when all this takes place.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Judge, rather than we got the bond people, yes, identify yourself, please.
Rick Rainey, I'm City Director, District 5, Hot Springs. The report details projects for the City of Hot Springs. If we participate in this and we get part of the money, do we have to do these projects? Or can we use monies we see fit?
That's kind of what David Watkins and your city engineer actually put up. Now, if you have something that comes up on the list that is more high priority, I think that can go in.
I think Fire Station on 7 South takes priority.
This is strictly road infrastructure.
Oh, roads only, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes,
Was the original New Little Rock Highway back in '64 maybe, was that not right-of-way purchased for a 4-lane?
4-lane divided highway interstate standards. And I had to sign an agreement to take that out, and I've already done it. So it's going to be a 5-lane highway. That's what the highway department wanted to do. Saline County did it and so did
But that right-of-way was not purchased back on the original road.
Yes, it was.
So there would be no right-of-way purchase this time.
There's going to be some, according to whether they straighten some of these curves out or not. There will be some, but it's going to be very minimal.
yes, sir.
I'm Jerry Rappan, a local citizen. What's the probability that all of these are going to be funded, all of these projects? And will they begin when the bypass begins, or are they going to wait until the bypass funds are paid off to begin?
Ours will begin the day the voters start the process. Now, we won't be able to fund anything, but we can start the assessment side of this deal for the city and the county. And this includes Lonsdale, Mountain Pine, and Fountain Lake. If they got overlay projects they want to do, they need to bring them, and we'll try to address them to that amount of money. The way I look at it, we're going to start organizing this thing as soon as the voters say yes or no, one way or the other. There needs to be a committee set up, and we need to assess all these projects we have listed and determine which ones we can, and try to get an engineer involved to figure out a number so we know how far we can go with the list. This is a shortened list on the county side. I will tell you, I had 3 pages of stuff, high priority. There's not, this 50 million is not enough money to address what's in the county. So mine's a shortened list from what it was. And I think the cities is as well.
George?
To make it clear, on the 30 million, that's going to go to the bypass.
Right.
Okay, of the 20 million, approximately 39 and change goes to the municipalities of the 20 million left, which gives the county
approximately 12 million, and the city of Hot Springs and the other municipalities about 8 million. That's the breakdown, and you're saying, Judge, that this is designated, that it can only be used for road improvements, street improvements?
Exactly.
Okay.
Sheriff, you want to verify that?
Well, I believe you, Judge. You don't need to verify that. I trust you.
I think it's verified.
But the second, well, Larry, you can ask that question. But, okay, so we're gonna do that. Now, is the $20 million, the 12 that's gonna go over to the county and the portion going to municipalities, are those funds gonna augment what we're currently spending on roads and streets? Or can they be shuffled off to other general fund? Okay, so
They
you,
can't be shuffled off, and they can only be spent on projects for improvements. Our regular budget's still gonna be continued going. What this is gonna allow us to do is not concentrate on the collectors so much, because this is gonna go towards the collectors. Our regular budget's gonna allow the county to do more local roads, which we haven't been able to do because we don't have enough money to catch them all anyway. So it focuses more on our regular budget in local areas, and which we haven't been able to do. Does that make sense, George?
it makes sense to me. I understand what you're saying. It bothers me that we didn't come to the county and ask for the local roads you're talking about, and not be asking for this $30 million bypass, because when we're matching this money, we're matching our own money that we've already paid to the state. However, that's not the topic tonight. I will assure you there will be organized opposition. I have people calling me, offering me money to organize opposition to this bypass. I think Ms. Barnable was very accurate. The people thought this was going to go away. We will never, ever in county or the city not want, need, or be chasing more money. That should make this an easy matter to defeat. Thank you. Thank you, George. Representative Ozark.
I just want to echo what the judge is saying about the money. As you know, the state budget's money for their deal in the transportation department has this money probably budgeted, or they would not offer it to us right now. So if that budget doesn't, if they don't use that money, that will go out of their budget and it won't be replaced. So if you don't take it, it probably will not come back for a long time, and I don't know what that time frame would be. And I'm not saying that's totally 100% accurate, but I believe that's what it would be. It's already probably in their budget for the 17 year.
Yeah, and I think Bruce touched on one thing, that if you don't do this now, and this, what they're putting together now is gonna mirror the federal highway 5-year program. And so if you take it out of there now, it's gonna be at least 5 years, and it could be longer depending upon the situation of finances 5 years from now. So I mean, it's kind of a one-shot deal. Take it or don't. And I can tell you, George, just to tell you, I have not had any negative responses against this deal at all, except for you and a couple more.
That's good. I'm organizing the others, Jeff.
Mayor, did you take that money yet, George?
No, not yet.
I just, we have the Metropolitan Planning Organization that's been working on for 5 years that I've been on the board. And it's always been talked about, this is what we need to do, but we can't do it. How do we get it done? Because we have a public safety issue downtown. I've been down there many times when the fire truck's trying to get through, the EMS, all those things are going right down through the middle of town, and they can't get through for the traffic because we have this bottleneck little thing right there. And then we've got traffic. And I've so many times, every time I go by, I turn around and look because I feel like we're at risk for somebody not getting that EMS fast enough, for a heart attack or something in the village. And so it's really a public safety issue that we've got to eliminate that traffic downtown, but we also have to have a way for the fire trucks and the emergency vehicles and whatever needs to go to do it at a speed that's logical, reasonable, but safe, and get to those places that they have to go to that are on the other side of Park Avenue. And I think, when you eliminate the public safety matter of it, you're eliminating a huge picture of what that bypass will do. And we've talked about it this is the first time that we said there might be money. There's always been, I'm sorry, there's no money, there's no money. And from my perspective, I hate taxes. I'm a citizen, we pay them. I don't even get a salary, so I'm really hurting. And, you know, the thing is, we've lived, how long did the jail tax last?
4 years. and
4 years.
months.
I have not changed my lifestyle whatsoever. I still eat at Cracker Barrel. And, you know, it's just, it's not gonna change what we do. It's not gonna change our lifestyle, but it will add a public safety, health, and welfare element that we desperately need. That's all.
Thank you. Judge, right, we have a bond people here, but I think it would be better that we hold them until the finance meeting and,
Or until the quorum court meeting?
I'd like to get a, a motion from
14.
from someone on the quorum court on public health, welfare, and safety on this
I
matter.
would make a motion that we send this forward.
There's a motion made to send this forward to quorum court. Is there a second? Finance is kind of here too.
I would second it.
And a second, and any further discussion from the quorum court members? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The ayes have it. Shep, we're through, but we'll save you for Great. 35 minutes.